This week on Queen's Conversations, join your hosts, Lucia Dragos, Nouran Omar, and me, John Collins, as we consider the present state of the COVID pandemic in Queens. The latest numbers about COVID infections and vaccinations indicate that we are gradually freeing ourselves from the grip of this deadly virus. We'll review some recent developments that show Queens is now moving toward a safe and promising new normal in this episode titled Queens Reopening. Our guests include Rob McKay, Director of Public Relations, Marketing and Tourism for the Queens Economic Development Corporation, Sarah Funke, on-camera host and travel expert, and Richard Mazda, actor, director, co-founder of Long Island City Arts Open, and owner of The Secret Theater. But first, let's begin our program with a special message from Queensborough President Donovan Richards.
Hi, I'm Queensborough President Donovan Richards, and it's a pleasure to speak to you during this special Queens Reopening edition of QPTV's Queens Conversations. It is always a pleasure to appear on QPTV, an outstanding media organization devoted to providing the community-oriented programming that offers coverage of Queens that can't be found anywhere else. And it is a special joy to speak here today, as we celebrate that our borough and city have thankfully turned the corner regarding COVID-19, with Queens being the first county in New York State to have 1 million residents vaccinated. We are lifting restrictions, reopening our city, and looking forward to a new, more resilient normal for Queens. However, we cannot fully get back on our feet unless we defeat this disease once and for all. That's why my office continues to work with our partners in city and state government to expand vaccination opportunities so that all Queens residents and workers have easy access to the vaccine. We also need to strengthen our borough's economy, which has been severely battered by the effects of COVID-19. But despite the many challenges we face, I am confident that Queens is well positioned to bounce back and be an even better place to live, work, and visit than ever before. One reason I'm confident is that our borough has so many wonderful restaurants, shops, and cultural attractions. I'm sure these venues will attract much more business from both Queens residents and visitors starting this summer. As the most diverse county in the continental United States and one of the most diverse places on the planet, Queens is home to a wide variety of cultures from all over the world. This makes Queens such an attractive place to visit for those who want to experience international cultures without necessarily having to travel abroad. So the post-pandemic future of Queens certainly does look bright, and we can help make that bright future a reality by continuing to do the hard work needed in addressing the issues impacting the lives of Queens residents. I'm committed to doing that work for as long as I have the privilege of leading this great borough. And I look forward to continuing to work with QPTV on these efforts. Thank you again for the invitation to appear on this special program as we all celebrate the reopening of Queens. Let's get to work.
Recent statistics on COVID infections and vaccine administrations indicate that we are continuing to free ourselves from the grip of this deadly virus.
For Queens, that means we began to taking steps to resume many of our businesses, activities, and events.
Today on Queen's Conversations, we'll review some of the promising signs that we're now moving toward a safe Queens reopening. Let's begin with Sarah. Sarah, you're a travel expert. The world of travel has changed and is now changing back. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm so happy about this. It's been such a long time where we've all been stuck at home. People have been dreaming of destinations that they want to go to, and finally we're having this opportunity. I mean, it is such a relief to me. I'm not only a travel show host, I actually own a tour company here in New York. And so I was like impacted in multiple ways as a tour operator, as a traveler. I think people are excited to travel again, but also looking at how can I do this safely so that I can still have a good time while being safe from COVID.
Yeah, there are still some restrictions and prohibitions for travel, and yet this last holiday had record numbers of travelers in the air. A friend of mine is going to Aruba. He has to have a COVID test before he leaves, a COVID test when he leaves Aruba. There are still some issues you have to deal with if you want to travel.
It's not as easy as it once was to travel, that's for sure. I think as the world starts opening, you're going to see things get easier and more accessible. We just heard Italy open their borders. France is opening their borders in 2 days for US travelers. The New York Times just put out a really good article on this, actually. So you should check that out if you want to travel more and see what places you can actually go to, because that has been a hassle trying to figure out where can I go where I don't have to quarantine for 14 days, or where can I go now that I'm vaccinated? Um, Travel is still going to be a magical experience for those that love traveling, but it does take a little bit extra work that we didn't have beforehand, which is understandable. We're still coming out of this pandemic. My expectation is hopefully by the end of this year, we're going to feel like everything is much more normal. And as a tour operator, I've had record numbers of bookings for the month of December already for New York City. So I'm thinking a lot of people have this idea of let's just wait, see how travel goes, and maybe we'll do a trip at the end of the year, or let's plan a trip for early 2022.
Thank you, Sarah. As you mentioned, you are not just the travel expert; you also know the hotspots in New York, such as foods. Have you seen a change? Have you seen a change with foods opening now, businesses opening, and is there a difference? And do you feel like New York is opening again?
It feels so different than it felt even 2 weeks ago. I have been absolutely amazed at how quickly things have changed since the vaccine came out and more people have gotten it. The last data I saw was 67% of New Yorkers have gotten at least one shot, and I believe it's a little bit over half have gotten both shots. And so now we see restaurants able to operate at maximum occupancy again, 100%. Nightlife opened last weekend. Some of my friends that work in the nightlife scene, it was crazy to me to see these videos of people partying. And that's what you're starting to see. It feels very, very normal again, especially for vaccinated. New York has this new thing called the Excelsior Pass. And as long as you get your vaccination information put in there, and they give you this QR code, which bars and many nightlife establishments are now requiring you to show. So you show your ID saying you're 21, and then you show your Excelsior Pass, and that allows you to get entry into bars and clubs, and you don't have to wear a mask once you're inside because they won't let anyone in unless you're vaccinated. And this alone has really vamped up the reopening process because it's allowing people to go back to their old life in a safe way.
And do you think that will continue forever, maybe, or that's how the things are going to be? And people that are not
I think
vaccinated will just not be able to go and enjoy nightlife.
Yeah, I think that people that aren't vaccinated are going to have some trouble in the future doing activities. I don't know if the Excelsior Pass will always be what you need to show. I think they're going to make some more efficient method, maybe combining your age. Like it could be like a license scan. Like it goes with your license, and when they scan your ID or license, they already know that you're vaccinated and they let you in, so you don't have to show both things. But I do think people that aren't vaccinated are going to have a lot of trouble doing things in New York, especially, and travel, especially international travel, and to destinations that are very, very strict on the pandemic rules, like for example, Europe, they will have a lot of trouble traveling and going back to what feels like a normal life.
Thank you. I want to go to Richard. Richard, how was the past year? What was your experience for you and LIC Arts Open? Did you open at all last year? And what is happening with also with the Secret Theater? I know you're moving locations. How are things progressing so far?
Thanks for having me on. There's a relatively short answer. Last year was absolutely terrible for me. And I'm not looking for sympathy, but basically the tsunami that was the lockdown down all of my activities caused me to close the theater, which has been serving Western Queens for over 10 years. We were the only theater in Queens with regular children's theater programming. So that's an example of one thing that was desperately needed, but now is gone. And we were one of the few theater companies doing regular Shakespeare and regular musicals. That's all gone. And then also in May, we were supposed to hold the 10th celebration of the LIC Arts Open. It was really gutting to have to cancel that as well, because it was obvious that nobody was going to be in their studios. Nobody would want people to come to their studios. And so we couldn't have our big celebration. And then what happened was that a friend of mine in Sunnyside told me about an opportunity where 2 spaces on Skillman Avenue, hence I'm going to build an art studios in what used to be the karate space on Skillman Avenue. And that will have about 10 to 12 resident artists who rent the rooms. And at the front of the building, I'm going to have a small art gallery. So what I've done by taking these 2 adjacent buildings is I'm hoping to ignite the art scene in Sunnyside a little bit and give myself a platform to come back both in theater and in arts.
This month also it's opening the annual Queens World Film Festival, both virtually and in person. And we have a video from the co-founder, Kata Kato. I'm sorry. So can we go to that video and then we'll be right back.
Hi, it's Katha Kato from the 11th Annual Queens World Film Festival, and we are set to run June 23rd through July 3rd. And this year, we are inside, we are outside, we are virtual, and we are live at 5 venues across Queens. The Museum of the Moving Image, Queens Theater in the Park, Culture Lab LIC at Plaxel Galleries, the United Sherpa Association, and The Local. And all 5 venues are presented by Benedict Realty Group. And for 11 days, we are also running on filmfestivalflix.com. 198 films, 33 nations, 11 days, 5 screens, and a virtual platform. We will see you online, or we will see you in Queens.
Rob, if there's anyone who has their eyes on Queens all the time, it's you. Can you give us some of the indications you're seeing that Queens is reopening and reawakening?
About the borough opening up? Yeah, without a doubt. We have slowly over the past month or two, many of the nonprofit, the culturals have reopened. Some of them partially, some of them completely. Some of them are still doing stuff online, but you know, there's outdoor music all over the place. There are outdoor films. So the Tribeca Festival, the Tribeca Film Festival, is here in Queens, offering free outdoor films in Astoria Park, Flushing Meadows, Corona Park, and out in Rockaway, a couple different parks in Rockaway. Most of the restaurants, the ones that stabilized, are here, and they're functioning, you know, within the law. I think that I really would. I'm tempted to say that COVID is over. If there's one thing I can talk about, if y'all don't mind, It's that in a couple of days, in fact, June 11th, Camp Rockaway will open up. That is a glamping experience. It's camping, but you're in very nice tents, and you're actually in a bed. You sleep in a bed right by, listening to the crashing waves of the Atlantic Ocean out in Rockaway. It's technically in Breezy Point this year, and it was not allowed last year because of COVID, but it's back. It's a full campsite. I think I did it before. I think there are about 12 tents. There's also an area, they've got outdoor showers and all that kind of stuff, and they really are right next to the beach in the Breezy Point area. If you know where you go further, you go down to the end tip, and then there's Fort Childen, and it's right there in that fort. It's open air camping, and it is about to open. It's going to be there at least until Halloween, and if they get more people, they're going to do it later. So I really do feel like our options are back. The Queen's Symphony Orchestra gave a concert outdoors in Juniper Valley Park just this past weekend, and now it's going on. It's that launch that kicked off a whole bunch of series of outdoor concerts. Astoria Park is about to have a big concert thing. There's another place in Astoria called Radial Park at the Water where you drive in and you watch theater. I think that the borough is opening up, and I think we're going to have a very good summer.
Thank you. This month, the Queensboro Dance Festival continues its tour around the borough of Queens. Let's hear from the founding director what she has to say.
Hello, Queens, and happy Pride Month. My name is Carisha Batan, and I am the founding director of the annual Queensboro Dance Festival, and I want to invite you to come check us out this summer. We are on tour right now, presenting free dance classes and performances by professional Queens-based dance companies of diverse cultures and styles. Coming up next on Friday, June 11th at 6 o'clock, you can catch us on Instagram and YouTube Live from Woodside for an experience of Taiwanese music, dance, and food with choreographer Shay Xiong. Saturday, June 12th, we will be in person for our first official performance of the season at Culture Lab Long Island City, featuring dances including Southern Filipino, tap dance, and Hawaiian hula. Sunday, June 13th, we'll be back on Instagram and YouTube Live, this time from Long Island City, with company Sheep Meadow Dance Theater, who will be teaching a ballet bar class for beauty sleep, which will be a Sleeping Beauty themed session. We've got live sessions online with a different dance company every week and pop-up in-person performances all summer long. So to get info on all of these events, please stay in touch with us by following us on Instagram at Queensboro Dance Festival. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, www.queensborodancefestival.com. And we'll see you soon at a show near you.
Well, this pandemic, to quote the Grateful Dead, has been a long, strange trip for all of us. But there are certainly some very promising signs that we can return cautiously and safely back toward a new normal.
Richard, you said that you feel that is coming back to life. So for all the children and the youth that wants to be involved in this children's theater, what are the next steps that they should do, or what should they look forward to?
I'm not building a stage this year. I need to make that clear first. And the reason I'm saying that is that I really support everyone who's opening a stage, but I do feel that there will be a few problems along the way. Maybe some false steps, or, one step forward, two steps back. And I can't take the financial risk. Having said that, we are already teaching in our new facility. The kids are sort of walking. It's not a building site, but we're not completely finished. You can see the plans on the wall. However, the space is clean, and so the kids are working really hard on their showcase, which was supposed to be at the end of June. I've had a lot of difficulty finding somewhere where we could do that, obviously. And the local church on Skillman Avenue may come through for us. So this being the case, we do a lot of hybrid stuff like other people. What I'm doing with my teen group that I teach is we're doing a play that's all about Dungeons and Dragons. And it would be quite difficult to stage. So what we've decided to do is stage it as a live radio play so that parents and friends can come and see them. And then we will cut that together audio-wise, add in sound effects, and put that out as a podcast or a radio play. So that gives the kids still a chance to know what it feels like to rehearse and then perform. And then next year we'll be back to full productions with the Academy, the Secret Theatre Academy. In the meantime, the only two things I'm planning this year for children is in September, we're very much hoping to do a version of Into the Woods just with kids. We've got a reputation for doing musicals like that. So we did Annie Jr. recently, we did Seussical Jr. And so we're going to do this wonderful musical Into the Woods, and that would be in person. So I'm talking to Queen's Theatre about whether we could do that in September. And then I am searching for a theatre for December so that I can bring back my production of A Charlie Brown Christmas. In the meantime, we have summer camps, and we are teaching all the way through the summer. And then in September, a new semester starts, and our full curriculum, which will include, you know, hip hop, dance, as well as theatre, musical theatre, tap, music lessons, vocal lessons, will all really start up in September.
That's it for today's show. We'll see you next time on Queen's Conversations.
Pioneers. This is different for Queens. This is different for the Queens World Film Festival. This is amazing that you are here today. I will not clutch my pearls no matter how hard you ask.
Queens World Film Festival.
You are crucial to our existence. I like to tell people all the time that I am the noise and he is the talent. He selected your films. He watched your films. Sometimes he would come into the bedroom and say, I just watched a fucking piece of art.
Queens World Film Festival!
Woo! Now the festival has always been in 2 locations for 8 years. Now we're in 5 and virtually. I'm holding on to this tiger with both hands. I can't let go and I can barely hang on. But I've got an incredible crew with me that are here for you.
Queens World Film Festival.
Queens World Film Festival.
Queens World Film Festival.
Queens World Film Festival!
Queens World Film Festival.
Queens World Film Festival.
Queens World Film Festival.
Queens World Film Festival!
Queens World Film Festival. Emphasis on Queens.
I don't know. We have plenty of time to work everything out. It is my experience that most of the time, most everything turns out mostly okay.
Queens World
Yo llegué aquí en el año de 1981, cuando yo tenía 20 años. Bueno, llegué con la mente de hacer mi transición de hombre a mujer, pero fue en ese mismo año cuando mi vida dio un giro que pues yo no esperaba que mi vida me cambiara así. Soy el gobernador como, al parecer, vio todo mi trabajo comunitario. Me dice, Lorena, congratulations. Me dijo, yo tomé tu caso y yo he visto que tú has hecho una labor bastante grande por 20 años y tus arrestos, tus convicciones fueron en el pasado. Ahora puedo decir que me siento la mujer trans más dichosa, la mujer trans que ya no tenía que levantarse temprano para hacer prostitución, la mujer trans.
The history of ceramics goes back so far. It goes back to our development, and it's global. You know, all over the world, people have found this material and understood that fire and clay make something special. I'm Grace Anker. I am a ceramicist and I teach pottery.